Hi everyone, I'm Candy from Susan's family. Today I'm bringing you a warm winter set, the Little Piggy style. This product includes gloves and ear warmers. Let's start with the ear warmers. It's divided into the stem, front body, back body, nose, and ears, persimmon and eyes. Let's start with the stem. Begin with a chain ring. Crochet in rounds counterclockwise. The stitches used are CH, chain, X, single crochet, and slip stitch. Now watch me demonstrate the specific crochet method. First, let's look at the chart. In the chart, R plus number indicates the round number, and H plus number indicates the row number. The increases and decreases explanation column shows the stitch techniques needed for crocheting the current round, including increases and decreases. The total stitches column shows the total number of stitches after completing all stitches in the current round. Take the corresponding yarn. I'm using random colors here. For specific yarn, refer to the color scheme and hook size in the detail page of our product and paper instructions. The original yarn is hard to see stitch loops when crocheting. First, learn the method by watching the video. Then start crocheting. Begin by leaving a 30 cm yarn tail and tying a slip knot. Insert the hook into the knotted loop. Adjust the loop size. Hold the yarn with left hand. Hold the hook with right hand. Next, cast on is 6ch. Join with slip stitch to first stitch to form a circle. This indicates the casting on method is foundation chain. Cast on 6 stitches. Because the yarn has long fibers, stitch loops are hard to see when crocheting. Therefore, need to mark in advance. Take a stitch marker. Pick up the right strand below the hook to mark. This strand. After marking, crochet 1 chain stitch. The stitch marker position is the first stitch. Next, crochet the second stitch. Need to mark before crocheting. Continue to crochet the remaining chains. Pay attention to the marking. The third stitch. The fourth stitch. The fifth stitch. The sixth stitch. After completing, insert into the first chain stitch, which is the stitch marker position, join with a slip stitch. Note, don't twist the chains. Insert. Yarn over and draw through. Pull through all loops on the hook in once. Slip stitch completed. The slip stitch doesn't count as a stitch. Tighten. The slip stitch is not indicated in the form. When crocheting in rounds, always finish by joining with a slip stitch and tighten. Casting on completed. Now crochet the first round. The form shows 6x. The number before indicates how many single crochets to work. Pick up the stitch above the chain, 1 single crochet in each stitch. This is the stitch marker position. Before crocheting the first stitch, remove the stitch marker. Pick up both loops below the hook to mark. This is the entire mark. Insert the hook into the marked stitch, and make a single crochet. This way, the first single crochet stitch is at the marker position. You can add another stitch marker on this marker. To distinguish the first stitch position, the stitch marker at the starting point can be removed. Next, pick up the second marker position, and make a single crochet. You can mark it before crocheting. Afterwards, work 1 single crochet in each stitch at the marker positions. If you initially can't distinguish the stitches, you can mark the entire loop on the hook with a stitch marker before each stitch. Before crocheting each stitch, you can mark the entire loop on the hook with a stitch marker. After completing the last stitch, you must place a stitch marker. Join with a slip stitch to the first stitch. Because the stitch count is low, the fabric will naturally curl, which is normal. Flip the right side out. This completes the first round. Take a look. Whichever side has more fluff, use that as the right side. In my case, the side facing us while crocheting is the wrong side, and the other side is the right side. Use one strand of yarn to mark the right side. Move on to the second round. Make one beginning chain. Work single crochets evenly on the previous round stitches. Since the stitch count is low, place a stitch marker in every stitch. Join with a slip stitch. The second round is complete. Move on to the third round. Make one beginning chain. Follow the same crocheting method as round 2. Work single crochets evenly on the previous round stitches. Join with a slip stitch. The third round is complete. For the remaining rounds, simply follow the demonstration of round 3. Or crochet until reaching the desired length. Round count can be adjusted. After completing the final round, secure with a chain stitch. Leave a 30 cm yarn tail, and cut the yarn. Take the ear warmer frame and thread it through the center of the post. Position it here. Remove the stitch marker. Set it aside for later use. Now let's learn the front piece. Start with a foundation chain. Crochet in rounds counterclockwise. The stitch techniques used include V single crochet increase, a single crochet decrease, skip stitches. Watch my demonstration. Take the corresponding yarn. I'm using random colors here. Leave a 5-10 cm yarn tail, and tie a slip knot. Insert the hook into the knotted loop. Hold the yarn with left hand. Hold the hook with right hand. Next, the cast on is 2ch. This means the starting method is a foundation chain. Cast on 2 stitches. Because the yarn has long fibers, the stitches are hard to see when crocheting. So we need to mark them in advance. Take a stitch marker. Pick up any strand below the hook to mark. Next, work 2 chains. Cast on complete. Now work the first round. The chart shows, second to last, 7x. The brackets indicate that the stitches inside the brackets are worked into the same stitch. Second to last means starting crocheting from the second to last stitch of the beginning chain. Count back from the hook side, 1, 2. This is the second to last stitch, which is the stitch marker position. Work 7 single crochets. Take a stitch marker and pick up 2 strands below the hook to mark. This marks the entire section. Insert the hook into the marked stitch, and work 1 single crochet first. This marked stitch is the first single crochet stitch. The first stitch is now complete. Continue inserting the hook into the stitch marker position of the beginning chain. Work the required number of single crochets. The stitch pattern corresponding to the chart is now complete. Remove the stitch marker from the beginning chain. Next, work a slip stitch into the first single crochet stitch of this round to finish. That is, crochet at the stitch marker position on the left side. Slip stitch completed. This completes the first round. The side facing us while crocheting is the wrong side. The other side is the right side. Use one strand of yarn to mark the right side. I won't mark it here. Move on to crochet round 2. Our 2 is 7V. The number before V indicates how many. Work that many single crochet increases in a row. This means working 7 single crochet increases consecutively. Make one beginning chain. Work one single crochet increase into the first stitch of the previous round. Insert the hook into the slip stitch insertion point of the previous round, which is also where the first stitch marker is placed. Work 2 single crochets here. While crocheting, place the starting tail above the hook. Weave in the ends as you go along. Pay attention, mark first, then crochet. To distinguish. You can add another stitch marker on the first stitch. 1 stitch. Two stitches. This completes the single crochet increase. The first stitch marker from the previous round can now be removed. Continue working single crochet increases into the left side stitches. Don't forget to weave in the ends. Since we marked stitch markers for every stitch in the previous round, simply insert the hook into the marked stitch positions to crochet. If you only mark the first and last stitches with stitch markers, this yarn makes it difficult to see the stitch count. So feel with your hands. Part the fibers above. You'll faintly see 2 strands. There's a small dent below. Pick that little hole to crochet. Or you can use a yarn needle. First insert into the previous stitch's insertion point. Then pick up the next stitch backward. Basically this stitch is the stitch. Make a single crochet increase right here. This round requires 7 single crochet increases. For the rest, work 2 single crochets into every stitch. After completing the last single crochet increase, check the stitch count. Count stitches starting from the stitch marker position. 1, 2, 3. 13. 14. This round totals 14 stitches. When there's no stitch marker, just feel and count each stitch. Go a bit slower. The total stitches for each round are clearly marked in the corresponding chart. I won't mention this again later. Then slip stitch into the first stitch. Pay attention. After finishing each round, always join with a slip stitch to the first stitch. The extra yarn tail from the starting chain can be cut off directly, or continue to weave it in. This completes round 2. Continue crocheting round 3. Our 3 is x, v, times 7. The parentheses here indicate a group. Times number indicates how many times to repeat the pattern. Make 1 beginning chain. I'll emphasize again. You must work a beginning chain at the start of each round. I won't mention this again later. Now we're getting familiar with crocheting this yarn. Starting from this round, reduce the number of stitch markers. Mark every 3 stitches with a stitch marker, marking all the stitches around the round, or you can mark according to your preferred stitch count. Here I'll use 3 stitches as an example. Also remember to always mark the first and last stitch of each round. Don't forget this. Now let's crochet this round. Mark first. Then make a single crochet in the first stitch of the previous round. Make a single crochet increase in the left stitch. This completes one group, X, V. Let me demonstrate another group. First, make a single crochet. You can mark this stitch. Then make a single crochet increase in the left stitch. This is the second group. Repeat X, V, 7 times around this round. For the remaining 5 times, all are single crochets. Make 2 single crochets into the same stitch for the remaining. Remember to mark every 3 stitches. Join with the first stitch using a slip stitch at the end. Pull tight. This completes the third round. Now crochet the fourth round. Round 4 is X, V, X times 7. Because the stitch markers from the previous round are not placed on every stitch, so as you crochet this round, before making each stitch, find the stitch position, hold it with your hand, then crochet. Keep the position held steady while crocheting. After completing, feel the adjacent stitch on the left side, which is the small hole position. There should be a noticeable dent. If you can't find it, use a needle to insert into the small hole for assistance. The stitch position is easier to insert compared to other positions. Pay attention to keep the stitch close to the edge of the fabric. Hold this position and continue crocheting. When making a single crochet increase, ensure your fingers stay here all the time. Make sure both single crochets are worked into the same stitch. Continue crocheting downward. After confirming the position with your fingers, then work the next stitch. This completes a group X, V, X according to the chart. Continue with one single crochet into the left stitch. This round, we mark every 4 stitches. One single crochet increase. One single crochet. This is the second group. Continue crocheting downward using the previous method. After completing all stitches, join with a slip stitch. Pull tight. This completes the 4th round. Move on to the 5th round. Our 5 is 3 single crochets, V, times 7, when there are many stitches in a round. You can refer to the stitch markers from the previous round while crocheting. Check the stitch count and position for this round to avoid missing any stitches. If you really can't find the stitch, you can also use the marker positions from the previous round, combined with the stitch count for this round. Insert the hook where it's easy to reach, near the edge of the fabric. After completing, check the total stitches against the marked stitch markers. It should match the target stitch count. If you find the total stitches are wrong after finishing, you need to unravel back to the first stitch marked in the previous round. Unravel slowly. Remember to pull the yarn loop back at the end. Then recrochet this round again. This round is marked every 5 stitches. Follow the pattern chart and marking method. Complete this round. This completes round 5. Now let's crochet round 6. The chart for this round says, flow, even 35x. Flow means front loop only. A stitch has 2 strands like this. The strand closer to you is the front loop. The strand farther from you is the back loop. For this round, pick up the front loops only. Because the yarn is special, crochet slightly slower. Keep the stitch marker from the previous round for now. Insert your hook into both strands of the stitch first. Then remove the back loop strand with your hand. Pick up the front loop to work single crochet. Crochet slightly slower while working. Check the stitch count after completing each section between markers. Remember to mark every 5 stitches as well. This completes round 6. You can now remove the stitch markers from the previous round. Be careful not to remove the wrong stitch markers. Now we'll work round 7. This round is simply working single crochets into the stitches from the previous round without increasing or decreasing. Remember to work into the stitches, not into the front loops. Check the stitch count as you crochet. Move the stitch markers along as you go. After completing round 7, proceed to round 8. Move the stitch markers along together. First work the corresponding number of single crochets according to the chart. After completing, work 3 chains. Mark these 3 stitches before crocheting. Completed. Skip 3 stitches below. Start single crocheting from the next stitch. Remember to mark the first stitch. Work all the way down this round. This completes round 8. Now we'll work round 9. This round's crocheting method is similar to round 6. When encountering stitches, pick up the front loops for crocheting. When encountering chain spaces, work at the stitch marker position. Note that the back loop of the first stitch needs a stitch marker. To differentiate, mark this stitch marker with a thread. Afterwards, mark every 5 stitches. If you have extra stitch markers at home, you can mark each back loop. The marked positions are for crocheting the final round. If you don't have extra stitch markers, cut a piece of cotton yarn, thread the needle. Mark with cotton yarn after each stitch. If you're familiar with the positions, you can skip marking. This completes the 9th round. Now crochet the final round. BLO means back loop only. This round works into the remaining half loops of round 8. First, pick the first stitch, make 1 slip stitch, transition strand position. Do not tighten. Chain 1 to begin. Insert hook at slip stitch spot and make single crochet, remember to mark. When completed, on the left side, pick half loops and work 2 single crochets. Next stitch is single crochet decrease. First insert hook on left side and draw yarn through. Then insert hook into adjacent position and draw yarn through. There are 3 loops on the hook. Yarn over and pull through. This completes 1 single crochet decrease. This completes the group of stitches within the brackets in the chart. To make it clearer for everyone, I'll demonstrate using cotton yarn. Single crochet decrease. Insert the hook into the left stitch. Yarn over and draw through. This is an incomplete single crochet. Insert into the adjacent stitch. Yarn over and pull through. Complete 2 incomplete single crochets. There are 3 loops on the hook now. Yarn over the hook. Pull through all 3 loops. Draw the yarn through. 1 single crochet decrease is completed. This is the method of working single crochet decrease. I'll demonstrate another group. Pick up the front loop and work 3 single crochets. Then work a single crochet decrease in the adjacent position. Insert into the left side half loops, and pull through one by one. Yarn over and pull through once. This completes the single crochet decrease. The second group of stitches is completed. This round requires 7 groups of these stitches. Complete the remaining 5 groups according to the pattern chart. Join with the first stitch using a slip stitch. This completes the last round. Secure with a chain stitch. Leave a yarn tail about 4 times the length of the last round and cut the yarn. Hide the excess tail from the cast on inside the fabric. Set aside for now. This completes the front body. Next, learn the back body. Also begin with the foundation chain. Crochet in rounds counterclockwise. The first 4 rounds are worked the same as the front body. The 5th round is picking up the front loops and working even. Note that you need to mark the back loops here. Only the first stitch position in the last round doesn't require marking elsewhere. Leave a 5-10 cm yarn tail and cut the yarn. I've already crocheted this part in advance. Next, take one front body and one back body for assembly. To make it clearer, I'll demonstrate the method using cotton yarn first. Thread the reserved yarn from the front body into the yarn needle. Place both pieces with right sides facing out. The back body is sewn by picking up the insertion point of the second to last round. Which is above the remaining half stitch. The front body is sewn by picking up the stitches of the last round. When sewing, first insert into the sewing position of the back body. Insert into any stitch. Pull out the needle from the adjacent stitch. For the front body, pull out from the wrong side. Insert into the adjacent position. Gently tighten. This completes one stitch. Continue to sew the second stitch. Insert into the back body, where you just pulled out the needle. Pull out from the adjacent position on the left side. For the front body, insert where you just entered. Pull out upwards. Insert into the adjacent position on the left side. Gently tighten. This completes the second stitch. Continue sewing. This is the third stitch. The fourth stitch. Following this demonstration, continue sewing until just past halfway. When demonstrating with the original yarn, it's not very clear due to the yarn color. Sew slightly slower. Feel and sew one stitch at a time. Remove the marker position while sewing. Next, take out the ear cushion frame bowl. Place the flatter side against the front body. The larger hole above. Align with the hole on the front body. Remember to remove the stitch markers inside the fabric. Then take out the ear cushion frame. Thread it through this hole. Pay attention that the back body is close to the ear. Continue threading down to the lower hole. Once completed, continue sewing. Add a small amount of stuffing while sewing. Sew all the way around this circle. Finally tie off and weave in the ends. Weave in a few extra stitches for security. Next, thread the reserved yarn of the rod into the sewing needle. Sew the rod to this hole with a few stitches. Secure firmly, until no frame marks are visible. After securing firmly, tie off and weave in the ends. Installation method for the other side. Same as this side. This completes the assembly of the front and back bodies.